I'm glad you joined me tonight. We're going to pick up where we left off on Sunday. Sunday, we learned that God decided to replace King Saul, and he was going to choose the next king. So he had Samuel go to the house of Jesse to choose the next king. And when Samuel got there, Jesse brought all of his sons out. And as Samuel saw each one of the children, each one of the sons, he thought, surely this is the one. But God ended up choosing the youngest son, David, to be the next king. So Samuel anointed him with oil and told him, David, you'll be the next king. Even though David's brothers looked like they'd be great kings on the outside, God didn't choose them. And Samuel informed us in the Bible that God does not look at the outside of a person, but he looks at the heart. In fact, the verse that we worked on Sunday said, man looks at the outside of a person, but God looks at the heart. That's a good one to hide in our heart to remind us that God cares what our hearts look like. So a question for you. Have you thought about what your heart looks like to God? When he looks at your heart, what does he see? Does he see a heart full of love, joy, peace, and patience, and kindness, and goodness, and gentleness, and faithfulness, and self-control? Or does he see a heart that's full of hate, and sadness, and impatience, and meanness, and selfishness, harshness, and a lack of self-control? Well, he wants to see a heart that's full of love for him and of good things. And I know most of you have some really good things in your heart. But I also know that most of us, me included, have some things hidden in our heart that shouldn't be there. And we may be able to hide those things from people, but God, we can't hide them from. He knows what's in our heart. Let me give you an example of something we might be able to hide from a person, but not from God. Do you ever treat your brother or sister one way when you're around people in public, but when you get home, you treat them another way? Maybe you treat them with real kindness when you're around other people, but when you get home, you might be hateful or unkind to them. Well, we really need to replace those ugly things in our heart with God's goodness. That's a hard thing to do because our enemy, Satan, he wants us to fill our hearts with sin. We need God's help to defeat our enemy, Satan, and get rid of the sin, just like David needed God's help to defeat his enemy, Goliath. One of my favorite verses in the Bible is found in Psalms 51:10, and it was David's prayer that he prayed. And it says, God, let me read it to you. Let me get it out here. God, create a pure heart in me. Give me a spirit that is faithful to you. Wow, that sounds like a prayer that we should all be praying, don't you think? Can you say that prayer with me? God, create a pure heart in me. Give me a spirit that is faithful to you. We definitely need God's help to make our hearts pure again. Because when we sin, like when we're hateful or unkind to our brother or sister, we can't forgive ourselves, can we? Let this heart that I have made here represent our sin, and I put unkindness on it. I brought me a jar of water, and I'm going to see if I dip it in that water, if it takes away that sin. Let's see, I've got to move my papers here. Can you still read it? Let me stretch it out and see if we can. I can still see the words unkindness. We need something else to take away our sin and make our lives pure. We need Jesus in our lives, don't we? So I'm going to pour Jesus in our lives and see if that doesn't make a difference. But while that's sitting there, I want to talk to you about a few more things. The more time that we spend with Jesus, the purer our hearts will become. But at the same time, we need to recognize the sin in our life so that we can get rid of it. So this week, this is what I'd like for you to do. I either want you to make a big heart on white paper, or you can print off the heart that I have put on the website, you'll need to print 2 hearts or at least color 2 big hearts. And here's what I want you to do. I want you to use one of those hearts today, and I want you to write down the good things and the bad things that you've done. I did that with this heart, and I wrote down that I shared my bag of candy with my family. That was a way of showing kindness and love. I helped Shy do her homework. I was being kind and loving. I cooked dinner. I even emptied the trash when it wasn't my turn. But I also complained that no one helped me clean the kitchen after I cooked. And I got mad at Barry this week for no good reason. So I have some good things in my heart, but I also have some things that I need to make sure are not in my heart anymore. So what I want you to do this week is I want you to write down the good and the bad, and then I want you to pray every night this prayer that David prayed. God, create a pure heart in me. Give me a new spirit that is faithful to you. I want you to ask him to help you get rid of the things that shouldn't be there, and for him to help you put more good things in your heart, more love and joy and peace and patience and kindness and goodness and faithfulness and self-control and gentleness, all of those things. And at the end of the week, I want you to take that other heart that you've got, and I want you to make another list of things that you did this week that were good and bad. And hopefully you will not have as many bad things, but you will have a heart full of more good things. Because remember, guys, that only Jesus can make you pure. Let's take a look at our heart now that I dropped down in my water and added Jesus to. Oh, look, it's pure again. Only Jesus can make you pure, and the more time you spend with him, the purer your heart will become. Love you guys, and I'll see you next Sunday.